Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to finish setting up this room real quick and we'll get started with our mentoring session shortly. Got a couple things here to set up. Looks good. Whoops, let me mute everybody real quick. All right. So I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in, guys. Welcome everybody. Welcome back to another live session for our mentoring coverage. I just lost my train of thought. What I was going to do. I gotta send out the emails. So let me just send out these emails real quick, guys. I mean, obviously we're gonna be waiting for people to come in anyway, so it's not a big deal. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. There's only two entries that came up today that we looked at, which would be the PRB and the breakout V3, which is not very difficult for us to cover. So if there's any questions that you guys have, anything other than that, feel free to put your questions in the chat and then we'll cover them as we get to that point. But I'm gonna send out the email today for the live session. Then copy over Cern's profits. Nice work, guys. You guys did pretty good today. Looking at everybody's profits, you guys pretty much killed it. Ton of profits made by everybody today. I just gotta copy. Save messages. Sorry, guys, I'm just doing stuff in the background right now. As people join into this session. So, all right, guys, if there's any questions, I'll ask him a little bit. There's still people joining in. Setting this out. All right, guys, looks like majority of people are here so far. So welcome back, guys. Good morning. Back for this mentoring session. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. The main goal for today is just to review the PRB entry and the breakout V3 entry. They were pretty straightforward and simple, so there's not really much to cover here with regard to those entries. But if there's anything else that you guys want to cover in detail, feel free to let me know. So let's start off over here with the PRB entry. For the PRB entry right here, this is where market opened at 630. You can see how price pushed up. It was currently bullish. Price spiked up. There was no rejection off the pivot. Price came back down. There's no rejection off the pivot yet, but we starting to have a bearish trend here. You can see how the pivots are starting to shift. You take off. Well, I'll leave opening price there for now. You can see how the pivots here are starting to shift. We have level 4 above all the other ones. and price climbs down at this point. Basically, what I was looking for here is I was looking for price to come up and reject off the pivot. That was the first step, right? First step of the PRB, that's what I was looking for. I had momentum here for a sell. This indicated that price was going to be coming down further. We also had a bearish trend here as well. So we had a couple confluences, but for the most part, I was looking for price to push up and basically come back down. Price finally comes back up right here. As you can see at this point, price comes up a little heavier. It doesn't reject off any structure, so I'm still not looking for the rejection right there yet. Price pushes a bit higher right here, still doesn't reject off anything. And right here, you can see this is where I identify the rejection. So price came up, rejected off the structure right there. That's going to be the first step that I was looking for. Then I would be looking for space next. This right here, this is what I was talking to Maddie about on the live session. I was like, okay, Maddie, do you think this is space? And he said, yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, because I think it's space too. I wanted to make sure he was seeing the same thing I was seeing. And either way, there was two space candles right here, the red and the green. There was basically two dojis right there for the most part. And price came back down right here. So now what I was looking for next is I was looking for price to come back and reject off structure again, right? So right here, you can see price came down, but there was no rejection off structure. Price didn't even push up that much. It just stayed at where it was and it came down. Right here on the next candle, price started to push up, no rejection. Price pushed up higher. And then right here, this is where I kind of identified it late. So I identified it right here. I saw the rejection, but I didn't know if it was rejecting off the pivot. If I take off the high lows right there, you can see if you look really closely, it's like barely rejecting off the pivot. And that's where I made the split second choice to, okay, do I enter this trade or not? As soon as I saw it, I entered the trade, came down right there. And you can see that's where the TP hit. That's where I took out the trade and where I got out. Let's see, question from Ryan. Ryan's asking if the PRB and BB3 come up at the same time, would NinjaTrader let you enter both, or would you have to close out the first trade? I think they would. So I was thinking the same thing, Ryan. I was thinking the same thing, but I think they would let you enter both. The only problem is that if you hit close on the close button, it's going to close all of them, right? But I do believe that you can enter both. They're just going to be like two separate entries running at the same time. So I don't think they stack on top of each other. They're just two separate entries that come up at the same time. So I haven't tried it yet, but I was talking to Maddie about that. I was like, okay, this is going to be tricky because what if they come up like right at the same time, or they come up like right after the next candle? So I haven't ran into that situation personally, but I'm hoping that it'll let us, because I don't think, let me check real quick. Is Ninja or is Trader, right? Is Trade08 first one, first out? Override first one. This was talked about recently. Current scenario, yeah, so um yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly, but I guess we'll see. It's because if it's first one, first out, it's just gonna average the trade out. Like it's gonna average whatever is whatever the trade's running. But then either way, it's gonna balance out, right? Because if you have two of the trades running, and then it's either gonna come out at like break even because it's gonna average the price when you come in or out. So I don't know for sure, but it seems like they do follow FIFO, which is first in, first out. I don't know. We'll have to see. So I guess well, one of these days it's gonna happen, and we'll see what the case may be. let's see, Medusa, I think it averages your entry point, but you should be able to enter both as long as you aren't going over the max contracts allowed. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Medusa. So I think that might be the case. Like you might get in and it just might average out. So like you'll still be running in both positions, but of course you'll just be exiting where the next position exits at, right? So like one goes in, the other one goes out, or the other one goes in and then the other one goes in, but you would just exit at what the later position would exit at, because that's where your TP stop loss would be at for the most part. So we'll see. Yeah, I know. We'll check it out, Ryan, when it actually happens. Thanks, Felicia, for your input too. Nikki said there's an X on the TP stop loss line. You can close there. I'm not sure if it'll close all, but I wouldn't think so. Yeah, so if that's the case and it has two separate orders, then you would just have to click out of the first one that was entered versus like the next one that's currently running. But again, we'll have to see how it shows up real time, because I'm not sure myself. I've never ran into that situation where I have two positions running at once. So we'll see. Let's see. Maria's asking, can you explain to me what you understand for space? I know it's a doji. What is the meaning? The meaning is that price goes sideways. It doesn't even mean doji. Space just means price goes sideways. You can see how it's consolidating right here, Maria. So see how price, let me just go over here real quick. And these candles they're just kind of messy. So let me zoom out a little bit. This is what we mean by space, Maria. So price comes down, pushes up, and goes sideways. That's what space is. Space means consolidation. That's like the simplest way of identifying what space is. But it's hard to see what consolidation is unless you know what to look for, right? When you see a doji like this, you can see that it's obvious that price is going sideways, because there's no power on both sides, right? There's no big push up, there's no big push down. When you see a doji there, it just ends up going sideways. So space is really just consolidation. It's a sideways movement. So basically look for price to come down in the direction of trend, retrace, consolidate, which is space, retrace higher, and come back down for entry. That's where the space would come up. Kenner said, might be an idea to test it out in a sim account. Yeah, that's right, Kenner, you're smart. We should have just did that. I don't know why I would wait for here, let me see if I can maybe do it right now. Okay, I'll screw up my accounts. You know what? I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I want to close out on my Ninja Trader right now because I don't want to accidentally click something like yesterday. Okay, let me reopen my Ninja Trader. And you guys should try it too. So not just me try it, but if you guys want to try it, just pull up your sim account on Ninja Trader, and then yeah. Ninja Trader. Let's see. YM. Damn, that's crazy. My Ninja Trader looks crazy right now because I took so many trades, well, across all of my accounts, of course. Is price just not moving right now? Let's see. Okay, this is Sim 101. You know, I'm gonna try it another time, guys, because the volatility is too low, so I can't even see if it moves, like if it's gonna even fill. Because I want to have like separate lines there to show what my entry would be. So I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it later if the volatility picks up. But right now, there's no volatility, so I don't want to just enter a trade and it just enters one, and then it enters one right next to it. I want it to enter it, and then it'll be like up here, and then I'll enter it to see how they run through. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Hawk said he doesn't think that the sim accounts run on live feeds because his chart isn't moving either. Yeah, I'll have to test it out another time when the volatility is a little higher. But all right. But yeah, thanks, Karen, for the heads up. I didn't even think to do that. But all right, guys. So that's it with the PRB entry. If there's any other questions regarding the PRB, feel free to pop into the chat. Otherwise, we will move on to the breakout V3 entry. So we are now moving over to the breakout V3 entry. We'll just go to the entry because if I go to open time, we like had a lot of downtime where there was nothing happening during that period. So basically, you guys know the breakout V3, it's pretty simple. We're using the V1 confluence here. So step one, you want to identify. I was going to put up the criteria, but it's not coming up. First, you want to identify the V1 pattern, either a double body or double wick. So we had a double body rejection right here. That's going to be the first step. The second step, we want to look for a buy signal, which is right here. And for the third step, you want to look for a green candle to follow it. The green candle followed right here. This is where the entry happened. You would enter this trade here at the 25 TP stop loss. As you guys know, it went back and forth for a very, very, very long time. We were in this trade for about like 20 minutes almost, and eventually it finally spiked up and went straight to full TP. So I think the breakout V3, there's not really much explanation because we have set in stone requirements for it. They're pretty much straightforward and there's not really much to look at. You just have to look for the criteria, look for the V1, look for the momentum, look for the falling candle, and then you just enter the trade from there. So it's pretty straightforward. So if there's any questions regarding this, guys, let me know, but there's not really much to cover with the breakout V3. The only difference here is the cutoff time, right? Cutoff time is 8 o'clock. Obviously, this one happened before 8, and it just goes straight through for the most part. So yeah, this one's hard. This one's really hard to mess up because the criteria is so straightforward. Yeah, exactly. William said it's so straightforward. It's one of his favorites. Yeah, mine too. That's why we brought it back. I was surprised that we stopped using it because it's such a good strategy. But now that we've tested it, I'm like, it's a no-brainer to add it into our breakouts for the day. And it gives you an ability to have a backup in case you lose the initial trade. All right, let's see. One question here from PC. PC's asking, so for the PRB, you need 2 retracements. Yeah, exactly. So you need the first retracement. So here's a PRB again. You need the first push in the direction of the trend, retracement, space, retracement, continuation. Continuation is where you make your entry. So you're basically looking for a W pattern. PC, you're looking for something like this where price comes down, retrace, little W, and then continuation right there. You're basically looking for like structure to get developed right there, and then you look for that W pattern, and then you take your entry right there. Super simple. I mean, it's super simple when you're drawing it like this, but it's not super simple when you see it on the chart. It's kind of like a head and shoulders, but like a W pattern, like a half head and shoulders. All right, guys. So I think that might be it for the session. We didn't really take many trades today. Looking at your guys' spreadsheets, you guys did pretty good. Here's Nathan over here. Bounce right back over here with these other entries. Win-loss ratio is pretty good. We have Nikki over here. Win-loss ratio is pretty good too. I think if you're only taking the breakouts, then obviously above 50% is great. It's okay if you guys are still in the negative. As I mentioned, a lot of people are going to make mistakes on the first month, but hopefully you'll overcome those mistakes, and then by next month you'll be pretty smooth. That's just kind of what it is when it comes down to it. Let's see, question from Madhu. Madhu's asking, there was a V1 confluence after the BV3 entry. Yeah, exactly. So that was another thing too. So we had another confluence here. So this is what I was looking for throughout the whole time. There was actually like 4 confluences that came up, Madhu, if you notice. The entry came up right here. There was a V1 confluence. Let me just rewind it. There was a lot of them actually. So this is entry. There goes the first V1 confluence. This is where I thought I was going to swing up. And then it came down further and I was like, ah, crap, it's not coming. Another confluence right there. I was like, ah, crap, it's not coming. Another confluence right there. And I was like, okay, perfect. This is our break. This is what we were looking for. Like, ah, crap, it's not coming here. And it came down again with the 4th confluence finally right there. And that's where our breakthrough finally happened. And it shot straight to our TP. So yeah, I mean, it was good. That's typically what I look for. I always look for those V1 patterns because those usually identify where the turnaround is going to happen. So, all right, guys, other than that, I think that's it for this session. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, you guys did great today. You guys did great for the week so far and for the month. I think majority of you guys here are in profit. Unfortunately, I did, blow my account yesterday. I don't know how it happened, but it's from cutting the positions too early. So I'm glad that we held on to everything today, and it's just going to balance out over time. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any other questions, reach out. Otherwise, we'll be back here tomorrow for the next live session as we take on the PRB and the BV3 for another day. So, all right, guys.